Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. It's that time again. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at our new AP poll rankings that just came out to kick off week 2 of the 2025 college football season. We have a new 1 through 25. Last week, we were blessed with one of the best week 1s I've seen in a long time for college football. 3 top 10 versus top 10 matchups, 4 top 10 teams lost. So you knew there was going to be a lot of shaking up with the top teams, with the top 25 overall. We're going to completely go over the 1 through 25 and give our initial reaction and breakdown of the poll. First things first, though, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, do you agree? Disagree? What are your thoughts on this reaction? What are your thoughts on the poll? Let us know in the comment section, and I will respond to every single comment. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, make sure to check out the pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. We go over every single football game every week, college football, NFL. We break them down. We do predictions. We do best bets on all the matchups. So if you're a football fan, if you're a sports fan, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's not waste some more time. Let's start looking at this poll. We're going to start out with number 1. We have a new number 1 team, and it's honestly no surprise. Coming in at number 1, the Ohio State Buckeyes getting 55 first-place votes, 1,636 overall points. They are 1-0. They moved up 2 spots. Last week, obviously, they played the previous number 1, the Texas Longhorns. They were number 3. It was number 1 versus number 3. They beat number 1. So obviously, you got to move them up. They jumped Penn State. They're now number 1. They have one of the most talented rosters in the country. Sayan took over at the quarterback position. They're going to have an elite defense. You have one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver core in the country. Tate, Ennis, Jeremiah Smith, who is the best offensive player, in my personal opinion, in the entire nation. Matt Patricia's defense, they look great. The Heartline offense, they need some more reps here. Younger quarterback, his first start. They're going to get better game by game, especially as they get deeper into Big Ten play. They're the number 1 team, and honestly, they're also the defending champs. In order to take that spot, you got to beat them. They do deserve to be number 1. Number 2, they didn't move up or down. You have Penn State, 7 first-place votes, 1,558 votes. You couldn't have them stay in front of the Buckeyes because the Buckeyes technically beat the number 1 team, so you had to jump them. But Penn State, they're still sitting perfectly right now. They're lying in wait. They don't have too high of expectations. This is a senior-laden team. They stole nose from Ohio State. He's probably the best offensive mind in the country. They have Drew Aller, Singleton, Allen. Yes, they didn't run for a lot of yards last week versus Nevada. Kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start on the ground. But with these weapons, with the wide receiver core, adding Pena, this is the best Penn State wide receiver core we've seen in a long time. They had a top 5 defense last year. They're going to have a top 10 defense again this season. The Buckeyes last year, the number 1 defense. They are sitting perfectly. They have a shot, a clear path to get to the Big Ten championship, potentially win the Big Ten championship. They will be in the playoffs this season. The big question is, are they going to be competing for a national title? Sitting at number 2, perfectly fine with that. Coming in at number 3, moving up 6 spots, LSU, 3 first-place votes. And all that I have to say to that is let's just slow down a little bit. This is a very talented team, top 10 overall roster. Garrett Nussmeier back, one of the more experienced quarterbacks in the country. You have Brian Kelly. You have Blake Baker's defense. Year 1 was good. Year 2 will be even better. This team is talented. They are fast. They went on the road. They beat Clemson at Clemson. That has to count for something. But they jumped all the way up 6 spots to number 3. They jumped a lot of good teams here. I don't have an issue with them being 3. The season's still early. But like I said, let's just all slow our roll just a little bit. This team is no doubt talented. You cannot challenge that. I just want to see more from LSU, but maybe this is the season they achieve those expectations. I just, for some reason, feel that they were really wanting to bump one of those SE teams up higher in the poll, so they jumped LSU all the way up there to 3, but it is what it is. They do have one of the best wins at this point of the season, so props to them. They're number 3 in the country. Coming in at number 4, moving up 1 spot, the Georgia Bulldogs, 1-0. They're number 4. Georgia beating the crap out of Marshall. No surprise there. Marshall couldn't even field a team to play in their bowl game last season. Gunnar Stockton looked great. Zachariah Branch, I was saying the whole offseason, he was going to be an elite wide receiver, especially at the slot position. He's one of the fastest guys in college football right now. This is a team to be reckoned with. I probably would have had them slide up to number 3. LSU maybe number 4. But 3, 4 really doesn't matter at this point. Coming in at number 5, the Miami Hurricanes, 1-0, moving up 5 spots, beating number 6 Notre Dame last week. They were able to beat them at home in Miami. Miami showed a lot of improvements over last season. Yes, it's just week 1. You don't want to look too much over it. But I did predict Notre Dame to lose that game, and we actually hit the score on the head, 27-24. I said Carson Beck was going to go down the field, get a field goal to win the game. That's exactly what happened. What's the odds of that? We were happy with it. That's what we do on this channel. Miami, talented team. Carson Beck, one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the nation. A top 5 offensive line, young wide receiver core, but there's a high ceiling for those guys. The defense with Heatherman now, much better, getting to the tackles, getting uniforms on the ball, rushing, converging on the ball. They were looking fast sideline to sideline, much better than last season, but it's early on. There's a lot of things that can still happen, but Miami definitely should have been 5. I thought that they were going to move up to 6. 5 or 6 at this point of the season, it's all the same. Miami, a harder schedule coming up soon. You have Florida State, you have UF on the horizon right now. Coming in at 6, I was actually surprised a lot of these teams jumped the Oregon Ducks here. They did receive one first-place vote. They beat the crap out of Montana State. Don't forget Oregon last season started out the year really slow, struggling to consistently move the ball. That was not the case. Right out the gate, they were running up to score 38 points first half. They beat Montana State. They did what they had to do. Dante Moore, first game as a starter, looked great. This offense could just continue to chug along. What Dan Lanning has done with this team through the portal, recruiting has been great. 5, 6, this team is definitely easily a top 6 team as of right now at the early point of the season. And our next team, our first team with a loss, number 7, the Texas Longhorns, 0-1, dropping 6 spots. This was not a bad drop at all. You really couldn't drop them any further. Texas, a top 3, top 5 overall roster. Arch Manning, a lot of question marks there, but they have about 3 or 4 cupcakes coming up. Look for him to get a lot more reps. This is year 3 in this system, though. He should be a lot more advanced in this. This is not a new team. This is not a new offense. You have Steve Sarkisian, his same coordinator for year 3. We need to see the mechanics get on track. We need to see the run game get going. The wide receivers have to step up. But one thing they do have going for them is an elite top 10 defense. They had a top 10 defense last season. They're going to have a top 10 defense this season. They actually played pretty good on the road versus the Buckeyes at Ohio State. But the team overall, the offense has to click. They have those cupcakes to get everything, get it oiled up, because once you get in the SEC play, you need the offense firing on all cylinders. Dropping down to 7, perfect situation. You're not too high. You're not too low. You're just right for right now. And then our next top 10 team that lost this past weekend in week 1, we have number 8, the Clemson Tigers, 0-1. Having lost at home to LSU, they dropped them 4 spots. You couldn't have them in front of Texas. Texas was number 1. Clemson was number 4 last week. Clemson, very talented team. Great defense. The defense first year with Allen looked good, much better than last season. They have a great offensive roster. Klubnik, year 3 with Garrett Riley, supposed to be highly advanced, 36 touchdowns last season, 6 picks. He definitely did not look good this past weekend. Great wide receiver core, young wide receiver core. The running back room, they got to figure out something. Their starting running back right now is a wide receiver that they converted to running back. That's not going to cut it. They have to get better. Thankfully for them, they are in the ACC. The schedule's not too bad, but you have to figure out something. Because the product that we saw this past Saturday, it is not good enough to compete on the national stage. The defense is, but the offense, you got to get something. You had a top 5 offensive line. To me, it did not look like that. They were not giving Klubnik time, and Klubnik could not hit anything this Saturday. I want to see the quarterback get better, but it's week 1. Crazy things will happen. There's still a lot of time to make up ground. Number 9, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The team that started out number 6, they dropped 3 spots. They're number 9 right now, 0-1. They have an entire season in front of them right now to make up that loss. But don't forget, they're an independent team. There's no conference championship for them. They need to at least go 10-2 this season. They still have the Aggies. They still have the USC Trojans. They have a lot of tough teams. But what I saw from CJ Carr, young quarterback, first start on the road at Miami. I thought he played really well. Yes, that very last drive, he got sacked a bunch, but that was a lot of pressure to have to go out there, win. We need to figure out a way to get Love more incorporated in the offense. The leading running back, considered the top running back in all of college football. Find ways to get him incorporated in the game plan, but you know what Notre Dame does. They have one of the best secondaries in the country. They have a great offensive line. They have a great defense. They have a top 10 defense right now. They will be just fine. You don't want to punish them for losing to another top 10 team. You don't want to punish Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame. They lost to fellow top 10 teams, so you can really only penalize them so much. Coming in at number 10, South Carolina Gamecocks. 1-0, moved up 3 spots, started out the season number 12. This is a team just barely missed the playoffs last season. Sellers, great game versus Virginia Tech, but I want to see more from the passing game. They were running up and down the field, but outside of the special teams touchdown, I wouldn't say that their offense was necessarily moving the ball that well. We know they're going to have a good defense. We know they're going to be physical. First off, props to Shane Beamer. What he's done with this team, what he's done with this roster has been exceptional. This team came out of nowhere last season, but now everyone is giving them their A game. They're not going to sneak up on anyone this season. Massive expectations. Some people have them making the playoffs this year. Everyone's giving them their best every Saturday. I just want to see more from the passing game, but Seller showed when he is running the ball, pushing the ball down the field, play action, they have a very talented offense. I just want to see them get better week by week, especially once they get into SEC play. Coming in at number 11, the Fighting Illini. Illinois undefeated, 1-0, moving up 1 spot. This is kind of a difficult team to call because they're considered this year's version of Indiana. We know they have Luke Altmaier, 3rd year as a starting quarterback in this system. Physical team, this is a Brett Bielema team. You know they're going to be physical. They're going to line up at the line of scrimmage. They're going to beat you at the point of attack in the trenches. They're going to have a good defense, but they have Duke coming up this week. That's actually a very challenging team. Do not underestimate the Blue Devils. Manny Diaz, they're physical. Mensah at the quarterback position. I think they might be getting a little too much early season praise here, having them at 11, but still talented team. Massive expectations this season. I don't have an issue with them being this high, but I probably have them between 15 and 17 right now. Coming in at number 12, a team that made the playoffs last season, Arizona State, 1-0, dropping them down 1 spot. They beat Northern Arizona 38-19. They honestly probably should have won by a lot more than that. They have Sam Levitt back. He was also the leading rusher, threw for 270, ran for 76. That's an issue there. That's great that he was able to run for that much, but I don't want my quarterback to be the leading rusher versus Northern Arizona. We should be able to generate a lot more push at the line of scrimmage on the ground versus Northern Arizona. They did lose Cam Scatterbo, massive loss. That guy was like 45% of their offense last season, and they have to find a way to replace that production at the running back position, not from the quarterback position. You don't want to rely on him too much because that's not going to work versus the big trench line warfare football teams. You have Tyson back at the wide receiver position. He can get you 1,000 yards easy this season. Just give me more from the defense. Give me more from the running game. They are 12. That's fine. And I was also fine with dropping them down 1 spot, but I'd honestly probably drop them down about 2 or 3 spots. You got to penalize teams when they don't show up. Our next team, number 13, the Florida Gators. 1-0. They moved up 2 spots. The most difficult football schedule I have ever seen in my life. It is a gauntlet. Yes, they started out with Long Island Ice-T University. They beat the crap out of them. It was a curb stomping 55-0, but there's really nothing to glean from that game because it was an FCS team, so we don't know anything yet. Lagway looked good. Ball looked good. We know they're going to be physical, especially at the line of scrimmage. Billy Napier, a lot of pressure on him this season. The SEC schedule, they have Miami coming up. They have LSU coming up. It is going to be a gauntlet up and down all the way to the final week of the season. You definitely have to win these games. You have USF this weekend. Might not sound tough. That's actually a tough game. It's a state rivalry type game too. USF wants to cement themselves in the state of Florida, but obviously UF should have the advantage there. Talented team. Do I think they're the 13th best team in the country? Washed or rise, potentially, but DJ Lagway, you have to stay healthy. He's always hurt. He was hurt in the offseason. They weren't even practicing football. I want to see him on the field this entire season, and we'll see what this team can do. But unfortunately for them, they just have a gauntlet they have to run through. And coming in at number 14, a unranked team last week, our first unranked team that's now in the top 25. We have the Florida State Seminoles, 1-0 from unranked to number 14. This team won 2 games last year. They went 2-10. Now they're number 14. A little bit of an overreaction probably. They did come off of completely throttling the Alabama Crimson Tide at Tallahassee. That does have to count for something. Bama, the number 3 overall roster according to ESPN for 4- and 5-star players. But they beat them and they own the line of scrimmage. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction to think that this team was not talented enough to be in the top 25 for week 1 and jump them all the way up to 14, jump all these other teams. Maybe Bama's just that bad and they can't get up for these games. And Alabama probably took this team for granted. Look at Alabama last season. When they get down under Kalen DeBoer, they haven't shown much fight. That was the case versus Vanderbilt, versus Oklahoma last year. But either way, give FSU their props. They won this game. They beat a top 10 team, and they beat the living crap out of them when no one had them winning that game, jumping them into the top 15. I'm fine with it, but I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. I'd have probably moved them to, let's say, 18 or 19. Because mainly, I don't want to disrespect the teams behind them right now, 15 through 25, who also handled their business week 1. Coming in at 15, we have one of those teams, the Michigan Wolverines. 1-0. They dropped them one spot. They didn't do anything to drop out. They played New Mexico. They won it 34-17. You have to remember, Bryce Underwood, 5-star quarterback, the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school. He won his first game. Michigan's quarterbacks last season could not throw the ball past 5 yards. It is what it is. They were solely a run-focused team with a great top 20 defense. They didn't throw for over 210 in any game last season. Bryce Underwood, first game, true freshman, threw for 250. Yes, he didn't light it up with the stats, but that's the best quarterback play we've seen from Michigan since J.J. McCarthy, and it came from a true freshman. They didn't beat the crap out of New Mexico, but really, were they supposed to with a true freshman starting game 1? The goal is he gets better week by week. I don't have an issue with them dropping them down one spot because with their Big Ten schedule, they will have the opportunities, the games to earn their way back into the top 14. Coming in at 16, you have Iowa State. They are handling their business. They are 2-0 right now. They moved them up 6 spots right now. They beat Kansas State week 0. And then they come out of here. They were what? 13 or 14-point favorites. They beat the living crap out of South Dakota, 55-7. They did what they needed to do. The last 3 quarters, garbage time. They were not giving up anything on the ground, anything through the air. They have Rocco back at the quarterback position, third-year starter, talented team, Matt Campbell team, so you know they're going to be disciplined. They're going to be physical, and they are cementing themselves potentially as one of those front runners to win the Big 12. And if you win the Big 12, you're one of those teams that will be competing for a playoff spot. Keep your eye on Iowa State this season. Number 17 is going to be the SMU Mustangs. 1-0, they dropped them down one spot. SMU 42-13 victory versus East Texas A&M. Jennings, mobile, dual threat quarterback, throwing the ball, running the ball, but still things just didn't look like they were fully gelling on the field week 1. It's just week 1. You don't want to put too much into this game. This is a talented team with a easier ACC schedule. They didn't make the playoffs last season. They have Rhett Lashley, talented offensive mind. They're going to have a solid defense, solid offense, but as this team gets in ACC play, they're going to have to perform better. I need to see some more from Jennings. When he's on, he's on. When he's off, though, he's off. This is one of those teams, they got penalized. They dropped them one spot. Coming in at 18, the Oklahoma Sooners. 1-0, they didn't drop, they didn't rise. Oklahoma coming off of a strong win, 35-3 versus Illinois State. They didn't light it up, but John Mateer, first game as a Sooner, first game with this new offensive coordinator, Arbuckle, coming over from Washington State with John Mateer. You have a wide receiver core that's been rebuilt, a lot of injuries last season. Brent Venables, he needs to get this offense rolling. They have Michigan coming up this week, and then they have the second most difficult schedule in the country. You have Michigan this week. If you're able to beat Michigan, the sky's the ceiling right now. You're probably going to jump up about 5 to 7 spots. You'll be in that top 12, top 10 potential range. This team has a lot of talented. Brent Venables, defensive mind, top 20 defense last season with an awful offense. They're going to have a top 20 defense this season. They need to get that offense gelling. To me, I have no issue with them not moving up or down. They didn't do anything to get penalized. They didn't do anything to get rewarded. Get that offense slowly on track. Have them prepared for SEC play. Everything is still in front of you. Difficult schedule. Take it week by week. Coming in at number 19, the Texas A&M Aggies. 1-0. They also did not move up. They did not do down. They really didn't, they had a good game. Slow start, though. They won versus UTSA, who has a very respectable offense, but the game was actually pretty close for a while. They won that one 42-24. Mike Elko team, they're disciplined. They run the ball. They play defense. Their goal, keep the score close, but they're going to wear you out by the second half. That's when they're going to pull away. So things went according to plan. I think a lot of people just wanted to see them hold UTSA under 20 points. It is what it is. They still got the win at the end of the day. That's all that matters. Coming in at number 20, you have the Ole Miss Rebels. This is Lane Kiffin's squad. You know what Lane Kiffin does. They're going to have a top 20, potential top 10 defense just like they had last season, but it's going to be the offense that controls the day. Top 10 offense last season. They lost Jackson Dart. They lost Trey Harris, Parrish, Simmons. This team moving the ball with ease. Every season they start out versus some FCS team or some low Division I team, and they beat the living crap out of them. They score 60, 70 points. They won versus Georgia State this past weekend, 63-7, dominating the game through the air, On the ground, the defense looked great. They have Kentucky coming up. Kentucky beat them last year. Lane Kiffin, they're going to be out for revenge. This is one of those teams to me. It's an underdog in the SEC. I would want to be ranked 21 right now because no one's necessarily looking at you, and you get to sneak up on all these teams. You don't want to start out too highly ranked and then disappoint. Now they can overachieve the expectations. Coming in at number 21, this team was definitely penalized. The Alabama Crimson Tide, the lowest ranking they've had in 17 years, 0-1. They dropped them 13 spots. They didn't drop out of the top 25. They'll be happy to hear that. They haven't been unranked since like 2004 right now. This team, the third most talented overall roster according to ESPN. That's blue chips, 4s, 5 stars. Great team. Kalen DeBoer bringing over Grubb. That's his offensive guy. They have Simpson. They have Ryan Williams. They have all the weapons. They have the offensive line, the running game. Nothing was working right this past Saturday. You cannot allow for that. You have to penalize this team. Kalen DeBoer, you got to keep your guys focused. Whenever you get down, this team shows zero fight on the field. You have to fix that. They went to Tallahassee. They lost to a team practically completely built off of transfer portal players, and then the game wasn't even close. They had the first drive. They looked good after that. Alabama was not able to adjust. Florida State was able to adjust, and they shut them down, especially on the ground game. You got to get the run game going. Everything can't be 40, 50-yard bombs. Coming in at number 22, the Tennessee Volunteers. I would honestly put this team above Alabama right now. They moved them up 2 spots. Great showing week 1 versus Syracuse. Power 4 team. They won that 45-26 at the neutral site. This is the game. Joey Aguilar, he's only been on this team for like 3 days filling in for Nico. You did not miss Nico, did you? He looked awful for the Bruins. He looked awful last season. He looked even worse this season. This is a team with the talent. They could have a top 20 defense. They can have a top 20 offense. Again, Josh Heupel, one of the best offensive minds in the country. It definitely showed. He adapts his play calling to the skill set on his roster at that time on that day. Just like I said with the Alabama ranking, I would have put Tennessee ahead of Alabama here because if they would have played week 2, I honestly think Tennessee would probably be the Vegas favorite right now. Coming in at number 23, the Indiana Hoosiers. Want to know, this team made the playoffs last season. They have Mendoza at the quarterback. Kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start. They dropped them down 3 spots. That's a lot. 27-14 versus Old Dominion. You got to beat Old Dominion by way more than 13. I don't care who's starting. First game starting there. Indiana, far more talented than Old Dominion. You have to penalize them here. It's not optional. You don't want to drop them out of the top 25, though. And the next team we're going to be taking a look at our number 24 team, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Want to know, dropping them 1 spot. How the heck do you drop Texas Tech from 23 down to 24? This team won 67-7. There's literally nothing else they could have done. They curb stomped Arkansas Pine Bluff. They beat them in every way. This team, they were running the ball. They were throwing the ball. They have Morton back for another season of college football. This team has to be one of the favorites right now to compete and potentially win the Big 12. They brought in the number 1 transfer portal class. If they weren't in the Big 12, I have no doubt the AP voters would have probably moved them up 2 to 3 spots. But because they're in the Big 12, they actually penalized them. They dropped them 1 spot. How are they below Indiana after Indiana barely beat Old Dominion? That makes 0 sense here. You got to respect this team. You got to respect the results. They played equally awful teams. Texas Tech won their game handedly. We got to move them up. You can't drop them after a 67-7 win. And our final team here, the Utah Utes, 1-0. They were not ranked last week. They came out, they beat UCLA, they beat Nico, and they were dominating in every facet of that game. Dampier at the quarterback. I have not seen a Utah quarterback play like that in a very, very long time. They were consistently moving the ball on the ground. Kyle Whittingham, one of the longest tenured coaches in the country. You know they're going to run the ball. They're going to play physical. They're going to have a top 20 defense, top 20 special teams. They're going to be disciplined, and they might have the best offensive line in the country again. A lot of under-the-radar Big 12 teams. It is a gauntlet going through the Big 12s because a lot of them are equally talented here. Now, you have to remember Utah. They've won the Pac-12 many times. This might be the year they finally win the Big 12. Guys, that closes out our top 25. The ones just outside of it, BYU, they were the next team up. They had a very solid game. They won that one like 62-0. Then you have Auburn coming off a solid win versus Baylor. Georgia Tech coming off a very solid win versus Colorado. How is USC not ranked? One of the top 10 overall talented rosters according to ESPN. They throttled Missouri State. They won that game handily like 60-something to 14. Great win for them. They were moving the ball, and Mayava looked pretty good at the quarterback position, and they have the best offensive mind in college football, Lincoln Riley, and they come from the Big Ten, so what are you holding them down for? Guys, that's going to close out our review and our recap of the new AP Poll Top 25. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, drop them below. Do you agree? Disagree? What are your thoughts on these polls? Do you see any issues? Leave them in the comment section. I will respond to every single comment. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, make sure to check out the pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would definitely appreciate it. And, of course, as always, thank you for watching.